Hello, and welcome back to another segment in excerpts from A Spiritual Ascension. So today I wanted to talk about being an old soul. So I'm sure that there have been times when people have called you an old soul. Um, you just have the knowledge, just have the wisdom beyond your years, or even in another sense, just knowledge that many people don't have. Okay. Especially if you've been on your spiritual journey for a while, you've accumulated knowledge um, as far as how the universe works, what your spiritual path may be, how we're directed through spirit on our path, and why we're here on the earth at this time. So, for those of you that are just coming into new knowledge about spirituality, um, one thing, let me back up and say that one thing when I started on my spiritual journey, well, I shouldn't say spiritual journey at first. Yeah, I guess spiritual journey. Over, what is it? um, I guess around 2012 was when I really got into it. And I was looking at the difference between religion and spiritual. And I kept asking the question, why is there one Bible, one book, with so many different religions? And then I was reading all kinds of different um, authors on, I should say, spiritual authors who were writing about spiritual things. And even though these people had nothing to do with each other, they all had the same concept, understood the same thing. And I was just kind of blown away by that. And I'm like, all my life, being brought up in a religion and always questioning, like, why are we different? If they believe in the Bible, why are we different than the next religion? But now here it is, I'm coming into spirituality for the first time and just happen to, be reading different books by different authors. And even though they worded things so differently, they were all saying the same thing. So the basis of our lives here on earth is that we are spirit or souls. We have souls that repeat, um, pass on. We lose our flesh, and our soul continues on through many lifetimes. So if you're considered an old soul, you've probably have reincarnated maybe 100 times or so. It could be more. So you've been through so many centuries, decades, and have probably gone back, and you can see when the pyramids, if you were around during that time, or Constantinople, or what is the Chinese empire um, back then. Just you just imagine your history and what you probably witnessed. And if you're like me, there's things that have happened where I have these deja vu type of moments where it's like you say, I've been here before, I've seen this scene before, and it may be not be exactly, but you feel like you've been in a place like that before. And that's because your soul is recognizing somewhere that you've been in a previous life. Um, Old souls are usually also ones that are chosen. So, um, another kind of thing is that you probably are the black sheep of the family. You're kind of different than everyone else in your family. Um, because you're kind of if you watch one of my other videos, which one did I just do? About being alone, that you're kind of separated from your initial family and are living your second life after your ascension in this one lifetime. So you're having two lives within one lifetime. Your soul continues on even after you pass through this from this lifetime and goes into the next lifetime, and this continues. But your soul has witnessed so much, and that's why also when you come into the lifetime where you're going to do your ascension, you are in the midst of that's why it's so difficult, because you're losing all of your karma from all your past lifetime. So whatever karma has been built up over lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, all that has to be eliminated so that you can continue on and serve as a leader and one of the ones to go ahead, um, possibly a teacher in some way, to others that will be coming later on. So all that to just say that you probably recognize yourself as an old soul. You possibly have also done some kind of um, past life, what do you call it? Past life, when you kind of maybe have been hypnotized to kind of go back, or you could even do meditations on that. There's plenty of them on YouTube to kind of go back and find the missing parts of your soul, what your soul has gone through. Um, I just did not so long ago, I sat with a hypnotist who was in training. She was really good. And I knew some of my lives, my recent lives, things that had happened, but there was a couple spaces that were missing. And I always kind of resonated with medieval times. And she brought me back to a place where I found myself deceased, looking at myself deceased in like a river, and someone had unalivened me and had all the medieval garb on. And the rest of the story it was weird because later on I saw a film that was similar to the vision that I had saw about my life. And it was just incredible because it was like confirmation that yes, this is um, part of one of the lives that you have lived. But just knowing that we have been both sexes, um, we have been um, probably in some kind of hierarchy where we were maybe a king or queen, or and then as probably as low as say peasant level, even could have been a slave at some point. Um, but just knowing that your stories of your soul have so much knowledge, and you're carrying all that knowledge with you from lifetime to lifetime. I'm going to not go too long with this. Um, One of the things I know about myself, and you may recognize something with you, is you may have a fear of heights, okay, or like a strong fear. And there's usually a reason for that. Maybe in a past life, you were thrown from a tower or something like that. Um, I used to really cringe something about my eyes being slit for some reason, and anything that had to do with like a paper cut or something like that, like really would cringe me out. I've learned to overcome that, but it's something with my eyes. And I think that in a past life, there was something about the slicing of my eyes or something like that. And um, that really freaked me out for a long time because I didn't understand why I was so, this was such a strong thing for me. But now recognizing that it was probably something someone did to me in a past life. So little things like that, that you don't understand why you may have these little quips about things, and that's probably the reason why. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there for this video. Thank you so much for being here. If you would like to spend time with me, there's a link below to book time with me. And also, I have courses on the ascension process, and the link is there below also. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.